So now let's see how we can work with watercolor inside of Adobe Fresco. So watercolor is a type of live paint. That is, you can see there's a brush with a little water droplet right here. So once you click and hold on it, what happens is that you get something called live brushes. That is, it simulates what happens in a real painting environment. So let us start with watercolor right here and let us go inside. So there are different watercolors right here, and what happens is that let's just go with the default. If I were to click and drag watercolor, you can see that it actually smudges out like a real watercolor. So the ink flows around, as you can see, just like that. There are different types of watercolors there. So something like a soft watercolor, you can see here. So it is something like this, and it actually blends out in the canvas as if the water is flowing, as you can see. So there's like a flat type of a watercolor right here, something like this, as if you're drawing from a brush, and there's watercolor something like this, so as if you're splatting it out to something. You can also go over here and go for basic watercolor right here, just like that, which does not smudge too much. So let us just go around over here and work around with the colors and options of watercolor. So if I were to go over here into color, and let's say I'm going to select blue, something like this, and draw it around with a watercolor. So I can simply select a watercolor of my choice and then draw around, and what happens is that you got a blue smudge. So I'm just going to go around and then choose yellow now. So now if you know the color mixing, then if I were to go around here and draw on top of blue, you can see that green starts appearing as it would in normal watercolor environment. So I can just go over here and mix out these colors, and they mix out like water, as you can see. So you can really create cool art by using this technique, just like that. Besides that, there's the other options here. So there's like the size of the watercolor, so you can bring it down, as you can see. That is the brush size, so you can see that that is how it works like. You can also go over here and choose the flow of the watercolor. So the flow is high now. You can see that it really flows out well. But if I were to go over here onto the flow and bring it down, what happens is that the flow is quite subtle. So it only has a bit of flow in it and not much. So you want to do subtle scenes, you can see that that is how you can do that out. So let me just increase out the flow, and over here, this is the water amount. So water flow is 60. I can really increase out the water amount, and you can see that it flows quite a bit right over here. And I can also go over here and decrease the water, let's say for example just like this, and you can see that there's not much flow going on, just like that. So it does mix with this because there's a bit of water there, but here there is no flow of the water whatsoever. So similarly, I can select another color just like this, and you can see that it does not mix much because this color area does not have much water. So you can change the water amount. So water flow is the water amount. You go over here, now you can see that there's more water amount right there. You can also go around there and change out other settings like angle. You can see that this is how it seems when you change the angle of the watercolor there. There's something like spacing between the watercolor, so you can have something like smudges of little dots right here. So that's something you can work around as well. So there's a lot of smudges now once you do this, and there's like scattering as well. So you want it to be more scattered around, you can do that as well. So just like you're randomly painting it out, just like that. So these are other settings that you have access to as well. And there's other shape dynamics right here, so you can change out other options right here, like you can change the angle, you can change the pen tilt, you can change the direction, and so forth, to get the type of things you want. So there's like pressure right here, you can change the pressure dynamics, the flow, if you're using a pressure sensitive tablet, and then you got velocity dynamics as well, so you can change the size, and that's how it looks, as you can see right here. So you change this around, and that is how it actually looks like. You can paint around, and you can see that it mixes out just like a watercolor, just like that. What you can also do is decrease the amount of transparency of any color. Let me just use white in this case. Decrease the amount of transparency. You can see the opacity is 0. I can really increase the water flow, and what happens is that as if you're just putting out water, it mixes out, as you can see, just like that as well. So just like you can mix out water to watercolors, you can see that I can use transparent option in the color to make it look as if I'm just using plain water to mix everything out, just like that. And that is how you can control out watercolor. Of course, you can work around in multiple layers to get different effects, but that is something we will do in future lessons. So that is how you can work around with watercolor inside of Adobe Fresco to get natural watercolor outlook in your canvas. So hope you guys learned something as always. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.